What's up, A to Z Sports here live on a Tuesday. Zach on a Tuesday because Sam is wheels up to LA for the Survivor finale party on tomorrow night. So Zach and Sam flipping days a little bit, but we're continuing to talk about the Will Levis fallout from Sunday's loss as the Titans dropped to 3-11 after dropping that game with 6 total turnovers, 4 from Will Levis and a second half benching for Mason Rudolph. And Brian Callahan did not hold back and put Will Levis in his place in his Monday press conference. And we're here to talk about it all and really try to find out what is the number one thing that caused this demise of Will Levis as the Titans starting quarterback. After we hear from Brian Callahan about the future and the decision and the impact of the rest of the team with this season having 3 games left. Also, Zach, we played a little clip from Levis's post-game presser yesterday, but it was a longer piece. I went back and I found something in the middle of it, and I did not hear it the same way I heard it today. And so isolated, maybe a little bit different. So we've got that about the conversation as well. Throwing shade. So you haven't thrown shade in a while. So welcome back to Tuesdays for Throwing Shade. I hope you're prepared. I'm sure you are. But welcome in. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling here on this Tuesday morning.
Yeah, I've got shade far and wide, national shade. I thought about this, but this needs to be talked about because I think logic needs to come into play with certain shade, and this is concerning. I had so much shade, and I think again on the national scope, I got to put them all together because I don't get an opportunity to throw shade enough. So here we are on this Tuesday talking about the dumpster fire that is the Tennessee Titans. And I know there's a play on word. We love our sponsor. And this is funny to intertwine our sponsor. Nobody trashes Tennessee like the Titans. There you go.
The amount of ironic opportunities for that to be made. I've had to hold back quite a bit. The Phil Dunphy inside of me has been trying to get out way more often than I've let it.
There you go. We are broadcasting live on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We got you locked in right there. We will tweet out segment by segment, link by link out on our Twitter handle /X handle at A to Z Sports. So if you're a Titans fan or struggling to be a Titans fan, you can struggle together by following at A to Z Sports. If you're an NFL fan overall, follow our company-wide Twitter /X handle at A to Z Sports NFL. So we got you locked in right there. We'll tweet out segment by segment and link by link from our YouTube page. Search A to Z Sports Nashville on our YouTube page. That's the easiest way to interact and watch these live shows morning, noon, and night. In the morning, live shows, Titans at 2 in the afternoon during the week. And then we've got prime time with Buck Rising late night. So got you locked in. Make sure you subscribe. If you've already subscribed, thank you. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. Like this show. It will help distribute the show via the algorithm on YouTube. And hit the bell. Ring the bell. That bell alert will make you get notifications when we go live. You are notified. That is the easiest way. So it's hands-free, and you can jump on whenever we go live on our YouTube page. Facebook, what's going on? Facebookers, bottom left corner of your screen. Share now to public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing, as we say on this show. So share the show around. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed. So share the show around. That helps everybody else. And let's get this party started on a Tuesday.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He's Zach Bingham. We're Nashville's on-demand sports network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Got to thank our sponsors. They make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online, WilsonCountyHyundai.com, the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans, get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans, FBHP.com/ATOZ for your health quote today. And T-Dots, keeping Tennessee beautiful by helping everybody not trash Tennessee. Visit NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. So, Zach, we've already made the one Nobody Trashes Tennessee like the Titans, and Marvin says it should just be Will Levis, right? A Will Levis focused trashing. So Zach, your thoughts on the game Sunday, because normally you do the Monday show. and then we go through that reaction. We move on throughout the week. But your thoughts on the game, then we'll hear about Brian Callahan and more details on his reasoning and logic behind benching Will Levis in that third quarter.
Well, I think it solidifies where Will Levis kind of stood in the eyes of a lot of people. It's not about the progress, the small progress that he made through a couple of games. It's about the consistency throughout. And we knew that Will Levis knew when he was drafted and, was, emotional time, but, crying in his living room and upset and focused because he was a second-round pick instead of a first-round pick, that changed things. That changed the trajectory of the beginning of his career because it changed the opportunity that he would get. He's had opportunity over the last 2 seasons, half of last year when they switched over from Ryan Tannehill after he got hurt, to now this year where he's had the reins. He's dealt with injury himself, but what he could not do is consistently play bad. He started the season terribly with boneheaded mistakes, got injured, came back, I think was better, not good, but better than he was when he started this year. And he's kind of regressed, but he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. He doesn't get the grace because he is a second-round pick. He's not a top 1 or 2 pick. Those guys get longer leashes. He gets shorter leashes. And so, we've maintained that he would get every opportunity. I think he has. He's got to do the most with what the Titans are giving him, but them's the rules, right? You don't get to pick your roster and pick your team. God knows Caleb Williams would put himself on a different team as that team struggles and is not very good overall. So, that's the situation Will Levis was in. And what you cannot do is what Will Levis did on Sunday. Play horrendous. Force the coaches, fans, and front office hands to say, we don't think you're very good. And you did that in front of a main stage. And I think the other thing that hurt Will Levis on Sunday was the counter. Joe Burrow didn't play great, but he did in the eyes of what a quarterback play represents, right? He had his turnovers, but then he came back and threw touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Will Levis was playing a horrendous defense, right? The opportunity was there, and he fumbled and botched and intercepted that away. And here we lie on a Tuesday after a benching in a time in a season where the Titans could go either way, right? They could draft a quarterback and start over. They could go free agency, or they could stick with Will Levis. I've maintained that he had never done enough to have them stick with Will Levis. He needed to do more. What he did on Sunday was not what you needed to do.
Yeah, he made the coach's decision very easy in that game. Now, what's the coach's decision moving forward is tough. And you mentioned that he's not a top first-round pick. Well, I even think those guys are not getting the leashes that they used to get. We're seeing those leashes get a lot shorter, like with Bryce Young. Now he's back. The whole thing.
Yeah, but look at him. Anthony Richardson and Bryce Young are starting. Will Levis's job is in flux.
Well, I don't know if those other guys aren't in flux. I mean, if Andy Dalton's family doesn't get in a minor car accident in the middle of the season, does Bryce Young come back and start again?
Oh, look, Will Levis could come if Will Levis gets benched. There's an opportunity, injury situations open up that he could still play. I mean, we know that. But what sits your ass on the bench is throwing interceptions and negatively impacting your team, and he did that.
Yeah, he's got 2 halves this season with at least 3 turnovers. One of them being the first half of that game on Sunday in Nissan Stadium. So let's go to Brian Callahan, because after the game, Brian Callahan was not ready to commit or say anything definitively about Will Levis and the future as the quarterback for him the next 3 games. Here was Brian Callahan, Titans head coach, on Monday addressing the timeline that he's going to take about whether Will Levis will get another opportunity this season or not.
I'm going to use the next 2 days to go through that process and make sure that the decision we make is the best one for our football team, and not really much to add to it. at this point, and that's something we can visit with later in the week. So take the time here that I have to go through it all and make sure, we're doing the right thing.
To what degree at this stage do you have the information you need for your long-term verdict on Will?
Yeah, that's the long. You start talking long-term stuff. Those are all postseason questions. Those we're in a week-to-week battle right now. We're trying to find the best way we can to win the football game. Trying to put the best possible performance we can put together. We got 3 weeks to play, 3 divisional games. So that's really what our focus is on: is how do we best attack those 3 games and finish the season on hopefully a high note. And that's all I really worry about right now. My focus is on those things, and those questions are for after the season. We get a chance to sit down and really look at the totality of work and where we stand.
I get where Brian Callahan's right, but what he's saying, because he is right about you've got to try to finish strong to be able to carry something positive over to the offseason into next season's work and preparation. But you also look at, is Will Levis a part of that plan? And so he's going to take the next couple of days and try to figure out who is the right quarterback to play Sunday in Indianapolis versus the Colts, versus who is the right guy the next 2 games after that, to see what the hell are they going to do going into the long, long offseason where decisions have to be made.
My reaction to that clip is, I'll give the analogy of a relationship. If anybody's ever been in a relationship where you're thinking about breaking up with the other, whether man, female, doesn't matter. Once you start thinking about your exit strategy, they're toast. Once that you take the time to look at your exit strategy from said relationship, right? And now an act has come in this situation, which is bad play, right? So in a relationship, maybe an act came in to make you think about, I don't like the way they acted, or I didn't like what that happened. That doesn't align with what I want in a relationship. It sounds like Brian Callahan is starting to think about his exit strategy. And it doesn't mean that it will happen immediately. Doesn't mean like you may go to dinner, but I think that is a key to, and Brian has the reins, right? He decides who plays and who doesn't. So I think that is a big influence in not only what happens in the next 3 games in the short term, but what the thought process of an exit strategy says towards going into the offseason and some of the decision makers for this franchise for that position.
Yeah, Jameson says, he's totally planning it. He already counted the number of emergency exits, right? Like, I don't know. Hopefully he's not sitting in that row to help everybody else out. But I think it doesn't mean it's happening this offseason, but it is inevitable, right?
Yeah,
right?
But he's thinking about it.
And
Will Levis has forced his hand to think about it. I mean, that's what he said in that clip is, I'm going to take a couple of days. Yeah. Those aren't, when you sleep on something, that's a big decision, right? And he's taken a couple of days through that thought process on what he's going to do regarding Will Levis. And the last taste in his mouth was terrible.
Yeah, if you thought that clip was interesting about Brian Callahan's thoughts on Will Levis, just wait for this next one. The benefit of benching Will Levis. Buckle up for this one. But real quick, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever that injury happens in life, just like in football, stuff happens and you get hurt, especially as you get older. Definitely feeling the effects of that. You have to know who you can go to and who you can trust. I go to the folks in Franklin, Tennessee, right off of I-65 and Highway 96, the Bone and Joint Institute, right next door to Williamson Medical Center. They've got all the experts right there, the doctors, the surgeons, the rehab specialists and experts, as well as all the facilities and the resources under one roof to make it easy and convenient on me. I had to do that this past spring and summer with some knee tendonitis. Haven't been feeling any pain in that knee over the last handful of months. They can help you out when you need them as well. boneandjointtn.org.
AZ Sports are powered by BetMGM. Last night, you had 2 Monday Night Football games. Aaron Jones over 63.5 rushing yards was good. Tonight, the NBA Cup. The NBA is getting look, I'm a fan of the NBA. I will watch regular season NBA regardless. So they're not trying to go after me, but they need to go after the common fan. because they're struggling this season as far as ratings. Let's see if the NBA Cup tonight, Oklahoma City and Milwaukee. So you got a couple of superstars. You can play some wagers on that. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports, all one word. That's BetMGM. Download the app today.
All right, so we just heard the timeline from Brian Callahan on the decision for the quarterback against the Colts. Here is look, the question that's being asked is important because Brian Callahan is responding to that question, which was, what is the benefit of benching Will Levis? And here was Callahan's answer.
The benefit of moving away from Will at this stage.
I think there's the guys in the football team want to feel like, we're all held to the same standard, and that's the biggest issue you face is there's a locker room component to all these things and a team component to it. So you try to do best by all players involved, and the guys getting ready to go play games on Sundays want to feel like we're going to put them in position to win, and that's ultimately where that's my job as a coach and our job as a coaching staff to do that. So, as far as one singular player development versus all the other stuff, those things aren't what we're focused on right now. At the end of the day, we're trying to put together the best possible performances in 3 games left in this season, and then we'll move into the offseason part of it.
Do you feel the other guys in the locker room have lost confidence in Will being able to win?
And I don't feel that way right now. No, I don't think that that's the case. I just think that, when you make mistakes, plenty of guys on our roster throughout the course of the season have they're just held to a certain standard, and you want to make sure that standard is consistent enough across the board at all positions. So just got to make sure that that's the standard we follow, and that at the end of the day, if you're in position to make plays and you don't make them, or we have errors that cost us games, those all count the same. I think across the board. So those are the things that I have to look at to make sure that we're doing right by everybody involved.
The standard is the standard, as Mike Tomlin says, and nobody's above the standard, and Will Levis has been below the standard. And we talked about this earlier in the year. There's going to be a time, and there's a dynamic that I've never had to be an experienced part of, is a group of individuals that are in the prime of what they do best in their career, that have their clocks ticking, and everybody's success is on the shoulders of one person who's not ready yet to do all that. What happens when that one person fails? And then how does everybody else respond to it? Because a couple weeks ago, Jeffrey Simmons went off in the locker room about, I'm tired of our quarterback getting killed and squabbling around on the ground after getting, blindsided by an edge rusher. That's Jeffrey Simmons being confident in his quarterback and wanting his quarterback to have a better chance. But there's always the whole, what's the locker room dynamic like? And if this one player is ruining everybody else's opportunity to succeed, you cannot keep putting that one player out there. And I thought that answer from Brian Callahan was very damning of Will Levis moving forward.
Well, in a year 2 of a high drafted quarterback, let's call it what it is, whether you're top of the second round or first round pick, right? When you say it's not about development anymore, it's about winning, things have changed. And I think that's the corner of this franchise and Brian Callahan, because Brian Callahan has a time clock of his own, right? He doesn't have the built-in stability. Really, no one does in the NFL, but he really doesn't, because he has no NFL prior experience. This is his first true opportunity that you work your ass off to kind of get in the spot, and he's in the spot. He's not, no one, and you got to be selfish in this thing. No one quarterback is bigger than the opportunity that I've worked my entire life to get. So it's not about develop anymore. And he said that the development in the middle of that clip, I thought that was the most telling thing, because that's kind of the first time, at least in my opinion, that we've heard that type of tone go towards the quarterback. Because it's always like, okay, he's building. We're building on the progress. Those stretch of 3 to 4 games. Well, we saw some improvement. Those weren't all Will Levis's losses. He didn't do. It's not about developing anymore. It's about winning. And I think that is the sign of Brian Callahan realizing that it will turn and his ass will be on the line it won't be Will Levis. And that corner was turned on Sunday.
Yeah, pretty quickly. Like a motorcycle lean.
That's how it worked.
Right?
Hey, not for long.
Yeah, not for long at all. And so, look, let's get to our question here, Zach, because I don't know if we haven't asked this, obviously, but I feel like we know what the opportunities for the answers are. But what's the number one thing that caused Will Levis's demise as Titans starting quarterback? And I'm really fascinated to see where people are going with it because there's no list of options. I'm not going to have a poll question with A, B, C, or D. It's not a 1 through 10, a yes or no. It's all of the things that we've been watching this past season of Will Levis. What is the number one thing that has been Will Levis's demise as Titans starting quarterback? And we'll get to all of your comments here in a second. But first, I want to tell you guys about our friends at T-Dot. We talked earlier. Nobody trashes Tennessee.com is where to go. T-Dot is doing all it can to make sure that we keep our state beautiful because Tennessee is a beautiful state and it's holiday season. We're doing a bunch of traveling. I'm traveling up to Columbus, Ohio, which is not as pretty of a state as Tennessee here this weekend for Tennessee, Ohio State. And I'm going to see a bunch of litter on the interstate. That's just a guaranteed. But we can help out T-Dot by joining their campaign to find a solution to end littering by visiting NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. They've got litter cleanups scheduled and organized in your area. Great for your kids for an opportunity. You can save money on tickets to local events by going to NobodyTrashesTennessee.com and just taking a litter quiz about how you can help, how you can improve your daily habits to keep our state beautiful. So visit when you have a chance, go check it out. NobodyTrashesTennessee.com.
A to Z Sports. Like I said, we are powered by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app today. The sportsbook born in Vegas. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports. Talk about Columbus. You got a ton of really good college football games. Finally, college football playoff is here. I've been yelling for this since we were on radio, which is a long ass time ago. So it's finally here. Years and years later, they finally heeded my advice that this was the solution. We went through a lot of back and forth, also a lot of arguments.
We can have that conversation if we want to at some point, but because when you were arguing for it, college football wasn't ready, but now it is.
Yes, they were.
No, they were not.
We've all been ready for this weekend for some time.
College football wasn't, but we were.
Here it is. Well, not everyone, right? That was the argument. You weren't. You liked the exclusivity of 4. I think that was the quote.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because of all the blowouts.
BetMGM, download the app today and get in on the action this weekend.
All right, maybe we'll come back to that later on the show if we've got time, which we will not have.
Side shade from a long time ago.
Okay, so Zach, I'll send you to the chat. We asked the question, what's the number one thing that caused Will Levis's demise as Titans starting quarterback? One thing that caused his demise as Titans starting quarterback. What are you seeing from the chat right now?
Well, let's start with the first two, which from Darius and Will, turnovers and turnovers. That is a recipe for disaster, right?
Mm-hmm.
That every single time. NM Titan says pocket presence, massive inconsistency, decision-making, turnovers from Steven, lack of awareness, decision-making, inability to read the field, decision-making. Brad just says himself, period, which is pretty impactful when you call it like that. Decisions, he doesn't have it between the helmet from Connor. Inconsistency in decision making, turnovers between the ears. Ashley goes turnovers, stupid plays, pick 6, offensive line from Noah, interceptions from Cost 66. Can't read defenses. It's that simple. Turnovers, game deciding plays, inability to read the field, the offensive line. This is why we love the chat. There is a bevy of different answers, but it all has, I think, a common theme on this question. Now, I love the question, right? Because there's a lot of different answers. Turnovers. Tyler, the Mayo commercial. And Tyler's entitled to his opinion, right? All the endorsements that's been going on. Maybe that's been a distraction. Get your cuts today. Bad decisions from Camry. Mental from Vanessa, ball security from Karen, decision making, right? His brain, slow processing and panic, decision making, his mind. I mean, the lackluster of talent on the roster. I mean,
Ooh,
you would say, though, and here's where I push back. I mean, this year he had more talent than he did last year, or last year did he have more talent than this year?
last year he and D-Hop were rolling, right?
I mean, rolling to losses still.
Yeah,
but
I mean, but they were making plays. Like he and D-Hop,
he was also getting sacked and getting hurt, right?
just like this year. So to the point of was it Tyler that had that, of the lack of talent on the team? I can't find it anymore. But like, that's not wrong. Like, it's not like, that is a factor in this, but it's not the main reason or the biggest thing that caused his demise. Will Levis has had the worst right tackle play known to mankind. Like, Nicholas Petit-Frere has been fired 4 times, but they just cannot have somebody else stay healthy long enough to keep him fired. Like, it's like, I've been so done with NPF, but he's the only option they got right now. And we know that. And it's not, there's some other deficiencies across the roster that we know about.
But what led to his demise?
Yeah,
what
his
did
demise.
he do?
Right. So decision making is a great answer because it is the correct answer. But I'm going to go a little bit deeper because that's where I was going to go. But as everybody started piling in with decision making, I was like, how can I peel this apart and go find the center of the onion? And so my answer is the inability to regulate his emotions. I think that is the biggest main thing for Will Levis's demise, because that also creates the poor decision making. I feel like the whole rewiring his brain conversation, I feel like there's times he is overstimulated and he just does the hero play. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes when you blitz Will Levis, you actually plays better because he just reacts instead of thinks that much. So I think his inability to regulate his emotions caused him to be a roller coaster of a ride, and that's not what your quarterback can be. It's how he can go from flexing all over everybody after an incredible throw and incredible play to being the most memeable person in the NFL because of the faces that he makes as he's holding his right AC joint in pregame warmups before having 4 turnovers. His inability to regulate his emotions creates all the other bad decisions because he can't stay stable in focused. Like, how do you feel about my analysis here?
Well, I think it goes to,
I'm trying to get deep, right?
Well, I think it goes to the theme of what everyone's saying here. I'll cut it up for you guys real quick. I'll spread it nice and thin. I'll spray something on when it comes to this question. It goes back. The theme is that it is himself. My answer is that he is a head case. He mentally, this game, and I think Peyton Manning revolutionized this game of others. At the quarterback position, it's about shoulders up a lot more than shoulders down, because a lot of people have shoulders down. I mean, he's got the guns, he's got the physique, he has the size and the stature, but he doesn't have it up here. And we've seen it time and time again, whether it is, Jamarcus Russell or all of the busts in the history of the NFL, right, that didn't have it up here, failed. Like, it's guaranteed. Johnny Manziel, the results are in, he failed. Why? And you could argue because of his stature, but it was his mind. He was a head case on and off. This is the difference, is like Will Levis, and I agree with your dissection of what this answer is, but it goes back to himself. Will Levis is what he is. He wasn't very successful in college, right? Mm-hmm. He had the same problems in college, whether it was injury or overthrows or inaccuracies or off the field banana mayo BS. And then what they did was he got drafted and he just converted that to a professional setting. Now, in a professional setting, you don't last long, but Will Levis does not have it above the shoulders, and the NFL will figure you out real quicker than ever, I might add, right? If you don't have it up here, the NFL will figure you out quicker than it ever has. Because used to, they'd give you 5 years.
Yeah.
Now they'll give you 1.5.
I think Will Levis, all the inability to regulate his emotions, being a head case, not being was what your answer was. I feel like he is very much a puppy dog, and puppy dogs don't play quarterback. You can go play fetch all day long and throw the ball to the puppy dog, or the puppy dog might play in roughhouse with you as a linebacker type, right? But puppy dogs don't play quarterback. There's too much fun, reactionary, all over the place, high and low emotions to be the quarterback. And I think I like having a puppy dog personality as in my friend group because they're fun people and you can have them with you, but not as the quarterback. I just think he is a build a quarterback body with a puppy dog mindset. And those two things don't equal success. I think Josh Allen is the closest thing personality wise to Will Levis because he is very much a puppy dog. If off the field, Josh Allen feels like that, right? But he has the ability to harness it when he is in the game, and he has learned to do that. And Will Levis has not yet. And I don't see a path towards Will Levis doing that.
All of the quarterbacks that have earned that from their team, though, it is twofold. If that whatever personality that they have, they've earned it on the field. So when they try to be a leader off, people follow. And Will Levis, look, and I don't criticize Will Levis for this. He got handed the keys last year. He had all of offseason. I think he took that captain's patch, the badge of honor. He got everybody together. He tried to lead. He tried to be the guy. He did everything, at least on the exterior, that you should do, but he did not have it on the field, in the locker room, and that's where the cream rises to the top. Joe Burrow has, after the Super Bowl appearance, he's had some rocky roads as a team, right? But we still have not wavered. He doesn't get too high. He doesn't get too low. We know he has high expectations. He still performs on the field. That is not a question about Joe Burrow, even though the results don't show that, right? And Will Levis doesn't have both. He doesn't have the twofold. Mm-hmm. And that's what you have to have in the NFL. And I'm glad, it's good, that the Titans are figuring this out sooner rather than later. That's the best thing that could happen.
Well, Jerry says Josh Allen is that guy, but took him a few years to do it right. Levis only got 1.5 years because Levis doesn't show the consistent upside that Josh Allen did, Jerry. And I think that's the reality of it. Josh Allen made big plays consistently, and Will Levis had not and does not. And the stretch of the tease, again, that's the tease of Will Levis. He did it last year as a rookie. He put together a couple really nice performances, and he did it in the month of November and in Washington on December 1st. But it turned into a pumpkin as the clock hit midnight.
I'll also push back because the times they have it changed. Josh Allen was drafted in 2018.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago in NFL
at this point. Yeah, for sure.
Right? I mean,
the philosophy has changed.
How much do we consume the NFL much differently than we did in 2018, right? Like the GM turnover, I feel like is much higher. The coaching turnover, the quarterback turnover. So I think it's a fair point, right? Because we're comparing.
Yeah.
But 2024 versus 2018 is a different landscape. And also of what said player represents. And Vanessa brings this up. So then why did they draft him? I think when you draft a quarterback, it's a product of where the franchise is, team need, pressure, coaching staff, general manager, owner. Like there's so many different things on why you draft the quarterback, right? Are you desperate? Are you in desperate need? Are you going to experiment? I mean, look at all the bad decisions the Titans have made at the quarterback position in the last several years, right? Like there is a theme to it. So I think it's a great question by Vanessa that has multiple answers.
I also, it has multiple answers. It is a multiple choice, multiple answers accepted type of question. I also think it's because in this day and age of the NFL is that you do know that it's okay to move on from a quarterback earlier than previously. Somebody brought up the 2018 class of Josh Allen and Josh Rosen. Same draft class, very different leashes on their careers. Josh Allen got the time like he was drafted in 2001. Josh Rosen did not, like he was drafted this year. Josh Rosen, they quickly found out, not it, moving on because he got the number 1 pick, Kyler Murray, coming in. And then he gets shipped around, and I don't know what the hell Josh Rosen's been doing the last 5 years. But Josh Allen did get that time because the situation of where those two franchises were at. And I think, go ahead.
It's about the person too.
Mm-hmm.
I always say this. We don't see, even though we have coverage in the locker room, we don't see what Will Levis is around his coaches, around his teammates, around the facility, how others treat him, how he jokes around, his sense of humor, like his social skills. Those also matter. Like, it's not the tip top of how you interact with your peers based on what you do on the field, but it goes into it. And that's something that we don't know. And I think that also can extend or expedite decisions, right?
Sure.
And that's kind of where we're at. I think from the outside, look, I've said what I've said about Will Levis. I think his personality and all that other stuff, from the outsider's perspective, not the guy I would want to lead my football team, just on some of the things that he's done. I've been critical of the sponsorships and all that stuff. We don't have to dive back into that, but those are actions. And how do you interact with how is your personality of your head coach versus your quarterback too? Like, do you blend? Does your coach trust you? Or are you just put in a situation? And Brian Callahan was put in a situation that he took, right?
Sure. So I want to say this about Levis. Like, I think people like him. I think his teammates like him. I think his teammates see that. I don't think that there's a disconnect of people not liking Levis in the building. I think he's a very likable person if you interact with him. Like, does he do some quirky, weird, cringy things at times? Yeah, absolutely.
Like and dislike is different, right? I'm not saying that they dislike Levis.
I think they like him. I'm not saying they're indifferent. I think they like him. That's my point. I think they do like him.
I
don't love him is a different
I don't
thing.
lean on that side.
All right, so I've got 3 rapid fire things I want to run by you because I've talked about these rapid fire things with Sam and Easton, and I want to get your opinion on these. But first, tell us about our friends at Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, FBHP.com is where to go to get your new health plan. We love Farm Bureau Health Plans. I always have for the last couple of years since they've been a partner of ours. 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. They've also partnered with the Tennessee Titans, the Tennessee Volunteers, Nashville Predators. They have, there's all this confusion and uproar about staking your flag in the middle of one's field. Well, Farm Bureau Health Plans has done that in the state of Tennessee, and everybody has enjoyed it. They've reaped the benefit of it. And that's because they've been a part of the community, and they help individuals and Tennesseans, and they have for over 75 years. Health, dental, and vision across the board. You can get a health assessment, then get a quote. It's very, very simple. And then you make the decision on if that plan is right for you. That's fbhp.com/ATOZ. That's Farm Bureau Health Plans, fbhp.com/ATOZ.
Also, BetMGM, download the app. Use our bonus code ATOZ Sports. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. It is the sports book born in Vegas. Also, shout out to the Memphis Grizzlies, the official sports book of the Grizz, the high-flying Grizz this season. So check them out this basketball season. So, Zach, I'm going to save. I did find something from Will Levis' post-game press conference that we can expand upon. I'm going to save that for Easton and I for the lack of time because I've got 3 rapid fire topics that I want to get your opinion of because Vanessa brought up one of them. So why did the Titans draft Will Levis? So My main answer to that is because they got enamored by the traits, obsessed with the traits and the high level ceiling ability without understanding the baseline and the normalized skill level of the quarterback to do the job the whole time, right? So my first buy or sell I want to ask you is my theory on if you're a good college quarterback, you might be a good NFL quarterback. You might not be. If you are not a good college quarterback, you will not be a good NFL quarterback unless you're Josh Allen. Do you buy or sell that? Because Anthony Richardson and Will Levis and Mitch Trubisky and those guys, Trey Lance, like those guys were not really good college quarterbacks, but they had all these traits that had them shoot up the draft board, and they were nothings and have been nothing so far in the NFL, where if you're good, doesn't mean you're going to be good in the NFL, but if you're bad, you're probably going to be bad in the NFL. Do you buy that or sell that?
Was Patrick Mahomes good in college?
Yes.
Like how good? Because they were enamored with his traits.
Yes, but like I'm not saying you have to win a bunch of football games. Jay Cutler was very good at Vanderbilt, but they were 6-6. Patrick Mahomes was very good at Texas Tech because he threw the ball for 18 million yards and a bunch of touchdowns. Texas Tech sucked and had a different system going on and had no defense. But Patrick Mahomes was a good college quarterback because of what his production was.
So, I usually tend to lean into, and it doesn't necessarily mean Heisman Trophy, right? We've seen that. But, Jaden Daniels, good example, CJ Stroud, some of the Joe Burrow, those have all worked out. Trevor Lawrence hasn't, right? He had great success.
Right. But if you're a good college quarterback, will you be good in the NFL? Maybe. I'm not saying that you are good. I'm saying if
you're saying that you have a higher percentage chance to.
I'm saying if you're not a good college quarterback, there is zero chance if you're not Josh Allen, you're going to be a good NFL quarterback. Like you have, in my opinion, the quarterback evaluation starts, was this quarterback a good college quarterback? If the answer is not yes, then don't draft him. He's not going to be good in the NFL. If the answer is yes, he was a good college quarterback, okay, now you move on to the next level. It is the first qualifier of yes or no, and you move on. So if he's
all right, so now I'm going to throw out, what would you categorize? Because I don't want to say good. Good versus bad is tough, right? Because like Jared Goff was number 1 overall, but he was also a product of that draft class, right? He went to Cal, like. He was number 1 overall, and was he good college quarterback?
Yes, he was a good college quarterback that had numbers that had Cal relevant.
And you're saying that Florida and Kentucky were not relevant, which I would agree with, during the tenures of Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson was not a good college quarterback. He was flashy.
Well, it goes back to Vanessa's question. I think franchises get desperate.
Yeah,
right?
And they got caught up with the traits. They got enamored by the sex appeal of the traits.
And situation. Ran Carthon had just gotten as the general manager job, right? Vrabel was still there. They felt like they needed to make a decision on quarterback because of their current situation of Ryan Tannehill, right? Like all of those factors played into a part to being more desperate to take a quarterback in the second round. Draft position too, right? So they had the ability, because they were closer at the top half of the second round, to move to get that player, right? Mm-hmm. And give up less as if they were a better team. So again, I know that's a lot, but that also matters. So I mean, yeah, I will agree with you that you need to show. The more you show in college, the more I feel comfortable with you possibly being a good quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, if you doubt that they're a good college quarterback. Yeah, if you doubt that they're a good college quarterback, I don't care about their athletic score or any of their combine stuff. They're not. If they were not objectively good in college, they're not going to be good in the NFL. So you buy that. All right. Here's another one, because Corey says Levis will 100% be on the roster next season. Sorry to say. So this was something I brought up to Sam yesterday. I want you to buy or sell this. A quarterback who was a starter that gets benched does not need to be on the roster the next season. It is the equivalent of dating somebody in the workplace. And when you break up, you see them every day in the office. It is awkward. It is weird. Nobody wants that. You should move on from Will Levis. And if he's not the guy next year, he should be somewhere else. Do you buy the concept of that office dating analogy?
It depends on it's a business at the end of the day. So it depends on the contract. If not, that is not the best decision for the team, then you need to go with the best decision for the team. He's going to really, and that's why I say, I don't think Will Levis is this like negative energy, bad locker room guy. I wasn't insinuating that. So no. I don't think it is to that degree. That what is the best thing for the team? That is the number one thing. Okay. That would be my answer.
All right. So you sell that one. I'd buy that one. Obviously it's my idea. And then Fortin says Buck said this right yesterday that automatically giving Levis the job without competition wasn't the right thing to do. Do you buy or sell that? I sell that because I think that's what the situation presented.
You didn't sign Rudolph to have him compete. No. You wanted Will Levis to win the job. And so you might as well hand him the keys and hope he doesn't wreck it. He's kind of wrecked it so far. So you're going to have to take the keys back and give it to a more experienced driver for the interim. You know, Rudolph knows that he is not. Look, Kyle Rudolph, I think, knows the situation.
Mason Rudolph,
excuse me. I always do that. Kyle Rudolph's long gone. Mason Rudolph.
He's still alive, though.
Well, yeah, and looks completely different than Mason with the arm sleeves. But Mason Rudolph knows where he is within this league. And I think he's okay with that, which is more credit to him, right? Doesn't mean that he doesn't want to compete or win games, but he is a complementary piece in a lot of this puzzle. Maybe he strikes lightning in a bottle and gets an opportunity and resurrects his career like Sam Darnold or some of the others. That's an if and but. Maybe the odds aren't in his favor. But you let Will Levis earn or destroy the job.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Especially in today's NFL.
Yeah. So we both sell. Buck said it that it was not right to automatically give him the job. So you and I agree, we sell that. It was right because of the situation.
And the situation, this is key. Will Levis is a head case, right? He is the young man that needs the words of affirmation. Like, he is the type of guy, in my opinion, at least what we've known about him, he needs the confidence of action and words to say, hey, you're the guy. You can go out there and do this. That ended up not working, but I thought that was the right decision in the offseason for Will Levis, knowing what we know.
Yeah, so Section 240 is our guy Bonafide Bro says, competition is needed in any situation to get better. Iron sharpens iron, to be cliche. Like, yeah, but like, again, quarterback is different to an extent where Will Levis was a better prospect than Malik Willis. There is no doubt. That is fact that he was a better quarterback prospect than Malik. Malik got better with this coaching staff and now has a good opportunity as the backup to Jordan Love in Green Bay. We don't need to revisit that. But with how last season played out and Levis making the most of his opportunities as a rookie, they had to take advantage of the contractual opportunity that was in front of them, which was a cheap second-round quarterback that showed some high signs in his rookie year to see if they could maximize that window of opportunity. And they put everything around him to find the answer. Yes or no. Those are okay answers. Maybe can't be a good answer. They found the answer, in my opinion, which is no. So now they have cap space because they're not paying a quarterback a bunch of dollars. And now they have more ability to build around whoever the next person is. So,
yeah, and no being, and Richie G says Levis will play Sunday, no worries. I think that's why we played Brian Callahan at the top of the show, because that type of decision is Brian Callahan shifting from development to winning. Yeah. That means Brian Callahan, once you make this decision, are you shifting from working on Levis to then working on the team? And I think that is a major shift into what you just said, is moving on and finding out how to win games. And win games not only this year, but setting yourself up to win games next year. Because that's really where the rubber is going to meet the road for Brian Callahan next year.
No doubt.
Brian Callahan, if he has a similar record and season next year, he'll get fired.
Totally. Just clear something up. Jerry Toom says Malik was better with a better coaching staff that understands the QB position. This staff doesn't. No, I disagree. This coaching staff for the Titans developed Malik enough in about 5 months to make him a tradable asset. Like, they improved him to make him tradable. He was not tradable previous to Brian Callahan's staff getting him. Now, you could say Matt LaFleur's staff is better at quarterbacking than Brian Callahan's staff, and I'll say, yeah, sure, absolutely. But Brian Callahan's staff does deserve the credit to make him a tradable asset. I think it's there's baby steps there. So, anyway. All right. Let's go ahead and throw some shade, because I think, Zach, you've probably had some built up shade to get off your chest, because I don't even know the last time you've thrown shade here on the show. So time to throw some shade. If you've got shade to get off your chest here on this Tuesday, bring it to us in the chat now, and we'll read the best ones. Here we go. Out to our friends at Wilson County Hyundai, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com and say, hey, to our buddy Payne Bone out there, when you're looking for that new ride, he's got you covered. Shade time on this Tuesday. If you have shade, please throw it. What's got that smile on your face there, Zach?
This, Rashid. If you can make Malik tradable, this gets the love of the show.
Oh, God.
Let's make Traylon Burks tradable. Well, it's gonna be a tough one, brother. I don't know if that's gonna be able to happen, but that's good. This good stuff right here.
I mean, Rashid. The guy had an ACL surgery. I don't know what the heck is gonna Yeah, Henry says some things can't be traded. Yes, that is true. Oh man,
and to clarify, D. Christopher says Tebow failed as an NFL quarterback. That's not what we're saying.
Correct.
It's not that you can't fail. It is the likeliness, if you are a bad college quarterback, is much higher of being a bad NFL quarterback than if you were a good college quarterback. The likeliness of you being a good NFL quarterback.
No, if you're a good college quarterback, the likeliness of you being a good NFL quarterback is less odds than a coin flip. It's not 50-50, but it's still there.
It doesn't mean that you will, but you're more likely than if you were a bad college quarterback.
If you're a bad college quarterback, you will not be a good NFL quarterback unless you're Josh Allen, because he's the only guy that's ever done that, to go from being a not good college quarterback to being a good NFL quarterback.
So IR says shade on teachers' duty days. I don't really know what that is. Right before holiday break, like you have weeks to get your work done. Do you know what that is?
I think I'm putting together the pieces. I'm guessing here, but my thought is that it's when the kids are out of school, but the teachers do report, so they get some stuff done without the kids there.
Yeah, duty days. I didn't know that. Big Ten Jeff, shade on the college football playoff. These are not home games. They're glorified neutral site games. This is funny. The college football playoff controls all in-game entertainment. The away team gets an entrance video. Austin, you can record that entrance video.
I'll send it to you, Jeff.
Fight songs, touchdowns, video played. Not a home game at all. Ohio State can't do an atmosphere type stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Bring your lunch pail, right? Bodies.
How about this?
That's what it is.
How about let me throw some shade on Jeff, because I will alter my shade, because I'm going to throw shade on the Ohio State Buckeyes fan base, because according to StubHub, Zach, 37% of the tickets on the secondary market were bought by people in the state of Tennessee. 34% of tickets bought for this game on the secondary market were bought by people within the state of Ohio. So more Tennesseans have bought tickets on the secondary market than Ohioans. And I'll take this a step further. Never doubt the Tennessee Volunteer fan base, because they did something that makes me even more impressed than I've already been. And that is the fact that Tennessee had somebody work their way to get the early sale code for Ohio State fans and shared it with Tennessee Vol fans to infiltrate the early sale code window. My whole thing on college football fans would be incredible government spy employees for operations that need to be dark if they were incentivized the correct way. Like, because they would find a way to get the job done. If you said to any SEC or Big Ten fan base for football that cares, we will give you 15 more scholarships if you find the solution to this government issue, they'll go do it and they'll find a solution for it. That is what college football is. So my shade's on Jeff and his fan base for not buying tickets.
Well, this is truly pent up aggression from Tennessee. I mean, when was the last time they actually played for an opportunity to win a national title like this? I mean, if you actually want to
in football,
be literal. Yeah.
In football, 2001.
That's a long ass time ago. 2001.
Yeah.
2001. I was a freshman in high school.
Maybe.
I mean, I was, you know what I looked like as a freshman in high school? I was 5'5", 135 pounds. I looked awful. I looked weird. That's how long. So all of that pent-up aggression has been building and building and building. I'm not surprised that Tennessee, I know a ton of people that are renting buses and going up to Ohio. Like, yeah, that's a thing. So curious to see how much orange is actually there.
The hard thing is going to be really cold. And so there's a lot, everybody has like dark colored jackets. Except for me, I'll be there. A lot
of Tennessee fans have orange colored jackets. That is something that is purchased.
Maybe.
Patricia says, shade on Frazier for turning the comments off on people in his group who aren't on board with Levis. Yeah, there's some Facebook nuance there. Let's see here. Shade on people trying to say the cold weather is a disadvantage for Tennessee against Ohio State. I don't think the weather plays that big.
Can I just say something about this before you keep going? This is the first game that has ever been played in the month of December in Ohio Stadium. Like, even in high school, none of these kids have played this late into December ever in their lives. It's a new thing for everybody. Like, in the cold. They've been playing in bowl games, in domes, or in sunshine before this.
You know, J-Rum is just going all in on shade on the devil. That guy sucks. So he's going against Red Horns right there. Let's see. Throwing shade at the broadcast, they kept showing Landry's skinned up knee versus the Jags while I was eating lunch. I did see that. Like, it was bloody. And I was like, what happened? And Jeff was concerned when he was on the ground. I was trying to figure that out as well.
At first, it looked like it could have been like a non-contact thing, and Harold and everybody, that was the concern. But man,
let's see here. Malachi, throwing shade on educational system for kids. No textbook, only Chromebooks that they can't bring home. So when they don't know the answer, there's no way of showing them how to find the answer without cheating. So
interesting.
I mean, there's definitely problems within the school system. There's no doubt there. Shade on the government banning TikTok potentially. We'll find that out in somewhere in January. That kind of leads a little into my shade because I'm going national shade because I do think that these things are concerning. I'm going to start with the drone wars. We have to figure out what this is. Okay. Them being closed lip on what these things are is bad leadership. I'll just keep it at that. I'm not getting into politics. We need to know, like, at least something, some sort of information. So shade on what the drones are. If they're okay, if they don't pose a threat, then that's fine. We need to know that. If they do, then we need to do something. I don't know, right? So shade on that entire situation. Then now I'm going to shift over to shade on essentially, I don't know, bad people in this sense. You've seen over the last several weeks, you saw the terrible school shooting yesterday in Wisconsin. That was absolutely awful in that situation, which was like, I think the 349th, give or take, don't quote me on that, school shooting in 2024. That is so ridiculous. That should make your heart hurt, right? That makes no sense. Shootings in general, then we'll move over to Luigi. People think that killing other people are going to solve a bunch of problems and you're going to be remembered. You're probably going to be forgotten, right? And here's my like nuanced shade to Luigi. Because if you follow the Luigi story, he's got the monopoly money, gets caught at McDonald's, then he gets all this, internet publicity or whatever because he killed a man in cold blood. Here's what I would say. I think this was stupid. Because if you have a degenerate back disease, which that has been reported that he had back surgery, do you think a prison bed for the rest of your life is going to help your degenerative back disease? I don't think that was thought out. You don't get Tempur-Pedic mattresses in prison, especially if you're there, if convicted, right? I don't know. They're going to have to go through a trial. I just thought that was, again, there was all this other stuff and nuances and all that. But think a little bit. Our society overall with drones and shooting, that's my shade, because that's I feel like at the top of our like national news per se. And then, all the stuff going on in the war that happened this morning. So that national shade today with all the pent up months and months that I haven't had to air my shade grievances on the show.
I have a follow-up question. I don't know if you guys know the answer to it, but you made me think of something. Does McDonald's still do the Monopoly game?
No, I don't believe, actually, don't quote me on that.
That was a big deal.
Have you watched the Monopoly, I think it's Netflix documentary on how the guy scammed the Monopoly?
No, I have not, but I'm in on that.
It's a really good documentary. It's an inside job. And I won't tell you the nuance of it.
Yeah, don't spoil it. Come on.
No, I mean, you kind of know that even watching.
I'm kidding. I'm joking. Yeah.
But it's actually pretty interesting. So I think that's why my gut was like, no, because I think that guy ruined.
Yeah. And clearly you guys know Section 240 is like they were banned because they deemed it to be illegal. And was it McMillions? Yeah, I have heard of that. But man, I bought so many fries. So many quarter pounders of cheese.
Genius marketing.
Oh, right? It was amazing. It was amazing. Like that is a great campaign. Of course, somebody's
got to ruin it. Yeah.
Some brilliant mother has to go do like, that's my thing about college football fan bases. I bet he's like a Texas A&M fan, right? He's like super freaking smart and uses all of his brilliance for bad instead of using it for good.
No, it was an inside. He knew.
I know.
He knew too much.
No, I'm aware. Like, look, college football fans.
I don't think he wasn't smart though. Like he was just in a situation to attain information. But
he was smart to use it the right way, and I get caught, I guess. But
yeah, right. You're not a good thief if you get caught. And I get you're anti Texas A&M, or was that just a random fan base?
I'm anti-Texas A&M.
Oh, well, yeah. The punch of Ghosts past.
2016. Still got the scars to show it. It's real, man. All right. Oh, gosh. That's it for us on, what day is it? Tuesday. That's it for us on this Tuesday. Sam is wheels up to LA. Easton and I, we will go through some more Will Levis conversation. We'll also give a little Survivor 47 prediction tomorrow on the show as Sam goes into the finale. And then we'll see how the week continues. But make sure you hit that like button, like the show. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, hit that like button before you go. Subscribe to our channels as well. And we'll catch you guys later on. Buck Rising Live. I know Sam has actually a prime time ready for tonight, talking about the Titans quarterback future. So that's all getting set. He's going to be from LA, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on a Wednesday. Appreciate it as always.
Adios.